I'm Tonya McConnell, the new co-host of That's My Story. Today I have the pleasure of talking to Martin Alsemgeest, who happens to be my father. He's done some amazing things in his career. He has done tailoring and dressing for names like Bobby Orr and Don Cherry. His stories are incredible, and every time I hear them, I learn something new. So welcome, Dad.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. So let's just jump right in and let's start. So where were you born?
I was born in Holland, and we left Holland to come to Canada. I was 9 years old with my family, which is my mother and father and 4 brothers and sisters. So we were obviously at that particular time, it was not a great time in Europe. We're in a post-war economy, no work. And fortunately, our family, we have family in Canada, which were able to sponsor us to come. And so that is a very difficult time for me as a family, my father and mother and children. So we came to, my father, all he had was to come over, was around $400 with a wife and 4 kids. So we came. And
But on a ship, Dad?
On a ship called the Grote Bear, which was a recommissioned naval ship. And the day that we came, my grandfather took me to a store at the end of the street, and he said, "Just you can buy anything you want as a gift." So I bought a water pistol, which was a yellow water pistol. Anyhow, so we made it to the next day. We went to the sea, to the haven, and we were there inside a waiting area, and our entire family was there seeing us off. And as we left, as we were called aboard the ship, of course, we left, and my entire family was waving a white hanky to say goodbye to all of us, because in those days, traveling to Europe to Canada was very difficult, money-wise, and the travel just wasn't there. And so we're on this boat called the Grote Bear, and it took us about 8 days to come to Canada. We sailed to Montreal, which was our first stop. And on the way over, I was a bit of a pain in the neck to a lot of people because I'm playing with some friends with my water pistol, as well as, I'm using my water pistol on the boat playing, and I was not well liked at that particular time. So anyway, when we get over all that, that's not a big deal. But the boat was not like not like today's sailing, of course. It was a recommissioned naval boat. But on the way over, it was a lot of people were sick, but seasick, and it was up and down, and but the water was very high seas. And I remember the first day when we left, the next morning I saw land, which I thought, my God, we made it in a short time. But we were in England. So from there, then we hit the Atlantic Ocean, which was quite a trip over. Anyway, we get to, when we first saw land, it was Newfoundland, which was about 8 days later. And we landed there and we got on a train. And the train, it was I remember being on the train with my family, and the train conductors, they would come and give you some drinks. So the train conductor, he would come with this crate of pop bottles, and they were, I remember the pop that I really liked. It was called Orange Crush, and I had that, and I still drink it today. So it was a great trip to Toronto, and there our family was picking us up. So we went from there. We drove in a car to where our family was there greeting us, and it was called Unionville, Ontario. And we stayed there for a few days, 2 or 3 days, about a week, I would say. And our family was was in the flower nursery business at the time. And we went to a, my father, we rented a farm home, and that's where it kind of started. And so from there, I went to school. I was only 9 years old, and I could not speak a word of English. And that was a big problem because the schoolhouse where I attended was every row was a class. So it was like eight rows from grade 1 to 8. Okay. And here I am. I'm sitting in the grade 1, and I'm like the Jolly Green Giant. Of course, I could not speak a word of English. I was in grade 5, grade 6 equivalent, but here I am in grade 1, no English, and that was a big problem. Unfortunately, I was taunted and bullied a lot and laughed at because who's this crazy kid? Big man standing behind all these kids in grade 1. Should have been in grade 5 or 6. Can't even speak a word of English. So there was a lot of unfortunate things were going on. Can't really blame the teacher because they really did not have the experience of your people coming over.
Dad, where was that school? Where was that school that you were at, Dad? Was that
was in
Keswick?
Unionville.
Oh, in Unionville.
In Unionville, yeah. So anyway, as time went on, so we're there for probably 3 or 4 years, I would say, approximately, yeah. And then we moved to my family and my father, and they bought a nursery up in Keswick, and
where was that located, Dad?
That was in Keswick, Ontario. And so in Keswick, Ontario, my father, I was probably starting in grade 8 at that time. Still had a major problem with my language barrier, and then but before we got there, my father, he would buy fresh fruits and vegetables from the farmer, and we would sell them in Toronto on number 7. I remember number 7 and Don Mills. Again, always the problem has been the English, but somehow we manage. We're selling potatoes, carrots, and onions, and that was a way of us earning extra money. And also, we painted barns. We did all kinds of work at the farm to pay for the cost of us living there. Plus, my father, he started work at a nursery, family-owned nursery, and so we went along. And once we got to Keswick at the place, my father knew Mr. Dunkelman.
And who's that, Dad?
He's the owner of Tip Top Tailors.
Interesting.
And Tip Top Tailors was a great clothing company in those days. They were really true custom tailors. And so Mr. Dunkelman told my father that he would definitely take care of me, and I would get him. He would educate me in his plant. So I got my driver's license, and I basically became his chauffeur. I worked for him as well, but I would drive him down to Toronto to the Tip Top Tailors plant. And there it was really amazing because Mr. Cohn, who worked for Mr. Dunkelman as well in Tip Top Tailors, taught me how to cut suitings and make patterns. And what happened there was I would on the weekends I would be told I would go downstairs and I would measure people, and that's where I learned the language more and more and more. And after that, it really accelerated quite a bit because I would be going to Sunnybrook Hospital. I would measure all the war veterans there, and that was a wonderful, wonderful time to meet those people. And yeah, from there on.
So you were learning not only were you learning how to cut patterns, but you were also learning more and more English at this time.
Absolutely, it really did work for me. So then I went to the store. He said, Mr. Duncan got me into one of the stores, which was downtown. And that's, again, it's the communication level with picking up your language. Without that, schooling was almost impossible. And they were not qualified to really teach immigrants, how to teach them English and whatnot. You basically are learning by yourself on a daily basis. So,
right.
so now I'm at Tip Top Tailors, and they got me a job, obviously. And from there, I really excelled quite a bit. And, I became fairly popular down there in the Tip Top Tailor store. Then, unfortunately, like a few years again went by, and Mr. Duncan, they sold their business. And the connection that I had with Mr. Duncan and Tip Top Tailors, I felt bad. But I was starting to get well known in the industry. The name kind of, your experiences that you're showing working with people on the floor, measuring and taping and working on patterns. It was a perfect match for me being in the custom tailoring business. So
Dad, I'm gonna wrap it up there. You had an amazing journey. You came across to Canada. You moved up to Keswick. You had to learn the language. You had to learn a trade.
Right.
So it was an amazing experience that you went to Tip Top. And we're looking forward to your next part of your story coming up.
Thank you. Standing there, and lo and behold, a taxi would pull up, and here it was, Bobby Pulford, Stan Makita, Dennis Hall, which they were in town for a training camp. So they came into the store, and I knew them, of course, and they introduced themselves.
Hi, I'm Tonya McConnell, the new co-host of That's My Story. I had the pleasure of speaking to Martin Alsemgeest today. He made the journey from Holland, came across to Canada, and eventually ended up in Keswick and had the introduction to the gentleman that owns Tip Top Tailors. And now he is moving on in his career. So we're super excited, Dad, to continue your story. So you're now working at Tip Top Tailors for a couple of years, and
Yes, and then what happened? I really did very well there, and it's and in the industry, it's a small industry. It's not small, but you get known. The word gets around, and unfortunately, Tip Top Tailors got sold. So I obviously my connection was with the Duncan family and working at Tip Top and learning the trade. So what happened there, after the company got sold, I was still there for a while, and Mr. Lou Mouse, who was up the street, approached me. And so I went to work there. And that's where I was there for about 10 years and helped grow the business. And we traveled all over the world together. We bought fabrics all over the world together. We were on shows, great shows, menswear shows. And so business really grew quite quickly. And I was responsible for bringing in the hockey crowd, which from the hockey crowd, it was I had a real long time friendship with Bobby Orr, and he encouraged me as we got working more and more together. He basically suggested I should be going on my own. And I really didn't want to do it at the time, but things, being with another company for 10 years, things, they change. And all of a sudden, one day I decided, well, I'll go with Bobby's suggestions. And he really, really encouraged me. So I decided, yes, we'll go ahead. And I had some great ideas, which he liked. And we bought a building in Yorkville. And the building was a perfect size building. I could make the suits upstairs, have a wonderful shop downstairs, and that really could not be better. So I traveled to England, and there was stores that I've always been at before, which were on Regent Street, which were truly the state of the art for custom tailoring. And the inside of the stores were always beautiful. And that sort of was a dream for me. If I ever got into my business for myself, that would be something I would definitely duplicate. So I was able to buy antiques there in London and had them sent over. And the building, the outside, the paint of the building, we traced it back to a paint bank. So it was bottle green, and the store really started to develop with all the furniture that I bought over there. Was able to build them right into the store, and it became a real Victorian, old looking store, and it was a very Victorian, I would say, just a great men's a great men's store. Okay. And so
then Bobby Orr would introduce you to other hockey players?
Oh, absolutely. I became very known well in the hockey world. And we opened up the store in 1975. It was in the fall, and training camp was starting. And here I am. I'm ready to do business. And I'm standing there, and lo and behold, a taxi would pull up, and here it was, Bobby Pulford, Stan Mikita, Dennis Hall, which they were in town for a training camp. So they came into the store, and I knew them, of course, and they introduced themselves. I hear you're starting a business for yourself, and we'd like to give you an opportunity to buy some clothing from you. So they all bought 2 or 3 suits each. They paid for them. And next thing I know, they went on, another taxi would pull up, and another taxi would pull up. The entire hockey team of the Chicago Blackhawks bought clothing off me and paid for them. So that was my beginning of obviously a wonderful career. And
you must have been very excited every time a taxi pulled up.
Oh, it was mind-boggling. And they were obviously they were great sports people, and it was just it's just from the sports world, I got into the business world, and from the business world, I met a lot of people because of the influence that they put onto the business world, and also I also traveled quite a bit to Hollywood, California, and other places in like New York, Chicago. And also we did a lot of business with the politicians. So it got to a point where I had to give a lot of attention, which I wanted to a lot of special people. And there were times where they would like me to close the store while I'm in there servicing them. And so it came, I got to a point where I was so busy that Bobby and I decided that we should just sell the store, and I'll move my factory and work by appointment only, which was a good move for me because I was not really like to be in a retail business. It was very time consuming, and the kind of attention they wanted from me obviously took a lot of time. And so that was a good thing for me to do. So
So
then,
you would set up all your appointments by appointment only, so you could give that extra special attention.
right, I get people like, say, Johnny Mathis would come in. Prior to, they would be saying, could you close your store while he's here? And then I meet people like Richard Burton, and I make clothes for Frank Sinatra, Pierre Trudeau, and Muhammad Ali. Well, these people, they need attention from me, and so it was very, very exciting, and fortunately for me, it still continues today, and I'm very proud to have met the people that I've met, had the wonderful start that I've had with Mr. Dunkelman, and you become. I had to self-educate myself throughout the years. Unfortunately, there's just the timing with Canada and Europe and all that. And after the war, it was a difficult time, but we all understand, and we make it. And
so, if you could talk about somebody very interesting that you made clothing for, and kind of why, it would be interesting.
Well, I would say, obviously, Bobby Orr, who's a great friend, and there was one man that I got to know, and it's Muhammad Ali. And I traveled to New York, and I met Muhammad Ali actually through Irving Dunkelman. And that was an experience that was incredible, because when I got to New York, and I got to the hotel where he was staying, he was staying at the 200 Central Park Drive, which is an apartment building. There were like thousands of people there, just to be around them, or people trying to get all kinds of information and whatnot. Anyway, I made it up. I made it up there to his room, and he was a very interesting, very, very interesting man. A real genuine, quality person. And obviously, everybody else that I met, they're all genuine, hardworking people that they had wonderful stories to tell you. And it was in the world of sports, business, we love what we're doing. We're very excited always. To this day, I'm still very busy, and really enjoy.
Making clothing.
Yeah, because I'm in business. Like it's something that I enjoy on a daily basis. It's like I'm not waiting to retire or to quit. No, I'm working to as long as I enjoy the people I'm doing business with.
So you were talking about the friendship that you had with Bobby Orr, which is incredible years of friendship. I understand he wrote a book, and you are in the book. Is that correct?
Yes. I'm in the book. Right. Exactly. And that was very, 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 very nice of him to do that, obviously, and it just shows you the relationship that I've had with him and myself and him, and just being a professional that he is in the hockey world. Professionalism extends in many, many ways. Whether you're an entertainer, whether you're a singer, whether you're a businessman, or whether you're a politician, or you're, like I did business with the premiers of Ontario, and we're all looking to do the best beyond the call of duty.
Absolutely. And what about you also did some suits and shirts for Don Cherry?
Yes, I did. Yes, Don Cherry became a real good friend. And I met him obviously in Boston, and you'll see we really, really hit it off well. We even did some fishing together, if you can imagine. So, he was a great person that I've met to this day. So, but a lot of my business came from the business world, really, and the entertainment world as well. And it's I've had a great relationship, a great life so far. And I can say sometimes, although I've been in it for quite some time, the best is yet to come.
Amazing. What an amazing journey you've had, Dad. Coming from Holland.
Thank you.
Learning a language, learning a trade, meeting some incredible people, and continuing to have these incredible relationships, even, years and years later, and experiences that are just incredible to talk about.
Well, thank you. It's been my success to this day. It's the wonderful people that I've met and the people that I'm working with, my tailors. I got people working with me for many, many, many years to this day. And these people, and my tailors, they started when they were 12 years old over in Italy, and they're still working for me today. And they are just so professional and
awesome.
I'm a very lucky man.
It
was a difficult start with the language. That was very difficult.
For sure. You've had an amazing career and an amazing journey, and you look fantastic today in your suit. It has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. We look forward to seeing what's up next for you.
All right. Thank you. It'll be custom tailoring.